Okay, so the next few are basically ones that you won't hear, or not that you won't hear. I don't want to sound like I'm coming with something better new, like, bro. What I mean is, you don't hear about them as much. It's not as commonly talked about. Basically, it's a bit more, to say, maybe a bit more nuanced.
Yeah.
So the Prophet ﷺ had a lot of intelligence, but when we talk about intelligence, the intelligence I mean, he was intelligent in every aspect, but the intelligence I'm talking about is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is basically knowing how to deal with people, manipulate people in the way that they need to be manipulated. And I don't manipulate in a bad way. Sometimes the word manipulation has got like negative baggage. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but when I say manipulate, I mean how to deal with people, what each person needs to hear in order to actually get them to do the best thing that will work for them. So we've got some examples of that. The Prophet ﷺ had always had a tarbiyah. His tarbiyah was always that of encouragement with the Sahaba. So for example, there's a narration where he said to Abdullah ibn Umar narrates that someone was talking about Abdullah ibn Umar in front of the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ said, Abdullah ibn Umar, he's a very good boy, or something along those lines. He's a very good boy.
You sound like an uncle.
He's very good, but if only he would pray the night prayer. And he left it at that. He didn't say anything else. When the word got back to Abdullah ibn Umar, he said that he never left the night prayer after that.
SubhanAllah.
That was the tarbiyah that the Prophet ﷺ always basically brought the Sahaba up upon. Encouragement. Also always giving full attention to people. This is something that, you know, when you do it, people will automatically gravitate. You know, some people, you got some people that you just gravitate towards them. People just gravitate towards them. They just have like an aura. It's difficult sometimes to explain. But when you break it down, you realize that they do certain things.
They do, They possess certain characteristics.
And they sort of sit in a certain way, walk a certain way. It's if you honestly, it's actually like that. So one of the things with the Prophet ﷺ, it's narrated from the Sahaba that he always, when he would talk to someone, he would turn completely towards them. He would give them his full attention and look straight at them. He wouldn't talk to them side on, like we're talking side on. He would talk to them basically face on. He wouldn't talk to them from the side, and that would let people know that they have his full attention, and not make them feel basically devalued. Also, the fact that there's another narration that he knew what people were thinking, in that, and he knew how to manipulate. This is a perfect example of manipulating someone. The Prophet ﷺ said to Abu Hurairah, obviously he was one of the people of the Sufa. He was very poor. And he said that he used to have a lot of knowledge, but he used to ask some companions questions that he knew the answer to, just so that they could answer, and he'd follow them to his house, and then they'd invite him in, so that they'd invite him inside for basically like a meal.
SubhanAllah.
So one day, Abu Hurairah basically he had some milk. He was given some milk, and he took it to the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ said to him, go and call the people of the Sufa. And the people of Sufa are like a lot of people, 60, 70 people. And Abu Hurairah was thinking, I finally got a bit of milk. And now he's telling me, get all the people of the Sufa, and we're going to share it between all of them. That's not going to be anything left for me. So the Prophet ﷺ said, go and get the people of Sufa, and you're going to share this with them. So he got Abu Hurairah and he said to him, you are the one who's going to serve it to everyone. So he's like telling Abu Hurairah, serve it to this one, then this one, this one. Abu Hurairah, in his mind, he's narrating, saying that I was getting depressed, thinking I wanted the milk, and now he's giving it to everyone else. I'm not going to get any of the milk. Anyway, in the end, is one of the miracles of the Prophet ﷺ. In the end, obviously, there was still milk left over. And the Prophet ﷺ, after everyone had left, the Prophet ﷺ said to Abu Hurairah, drink. Now drink. So Abu Hurairah started drinking. He said, he finished the bowl, he said, drink. He finished another bowl, drink some more. Finished another bowl. And the Prophet ﷺ kept saying to him, drink, until Abu Hurairah said, basically, I can't drink anymore, I'm full. So it's as if the Prophet ﷺ knew what Abu Hurairah was thinking. He was on the same wavelength, but he was playing like a little practical joke on Abu Hurairah, like, you think I'm not going to sort you out, I'll sort you out, don't worry, kind of thing.
It was one of his miracles, wasn't it? Because, like, obviously there wasn't enough, but the whole kept going, subhanAllah.
Exactly, there's another... go on.
Yeah, go on. I was just thinking of one story, but I've sort of forgotten it now. It was it's quite a famous one. It's when Aisha radiallahu anha, when they're watching this peer fighting. It's like the show that they're watching, and she's, she's leaning on the back. I can demonstrate.
I think I might break under your muscle, bro. Too wedge.
No, but she's basically behind him, and she puts her chin on his shoulder, and they're watching the show in front, and the Prophet ﷺ says like, you know, have you had enough? And she says no, and then they keep watching, and he asks her a bit later on like, have you had enough? Like, should we go? And and Aisha radiallahu anha says no, like I want to continue watching. Yeah, and she keeps watching for ages until like she has enough. And then they go in. But it goes to show that the Prophet gave full attention, and if they wanted to do something, he would sort of like let them enjoy their time.
On the subject of that, there's also a notion that Walid ibn al-Mughira obviously came to the Prophet and again, this is another thing, another emotional intelligence. Subhanallah. Look, the Prophet used to let people speak to their heart's content until they'd finished what they were saying before he would speak. And this was from his mannerisms. So he wouldn't interrupt people. He would let them get everything off their chest. So Walid ibn al-Mughira came to the Prophet ﷺ and started saying something to him. Walid ibn al-Mughira was one of the Qurayshis, one of the elders who died upon kufr. He came to him and he started saying to him like, what is this message? Just basically not saying nice things about him. The Prophet ﷺ said, are you done?
Yeah.
And then he started speaking.
Yeah,
so it shows like, he's talking to the person who's rude with him, even with manners, and showing emotional intelligence, and that he's letting the person know that I don't agree with anything that you're saying. Obviously, that's what he's thinking, but I'm still gonna listen to you. So I understand your thing, and this comes back to a point that I remember. I think I was talking with someone about this. Is that when we talk to people, sometimes we're just talking, and then we're listening, but we're not really listening. We're just waiting for them to stop speaking so that we can speak. Do you know what I mean?
It's
just like that. But the Prophet ﷺ, he would attentively listen. And listen properly.
That's true, subhanAllah.
And then he would respond. Rather than just, I don't call it listening, it's more like waiting for the other person to stop talking. That's what you should call it. So that's in terms of his emotional intelligence. Political intelligence as well, the Prophet ﷺ had. So for example, when the people went to Abyssinia, I'll just give one example for this. When the people went to Abyssinia, they went very early, basically. Not very early, but they went in the Meccan phase, basically. A group of their companions, there were two hijras to Abyssinia, and they went in the Meccan phase when the Muslims were being persecuted. Those people who went to Abyssinia, they didn't come back to Medina until very late in the seerah. Very, very late on. This is after all of the major battles had happened in Medina. So it's as if the Prophet ﷺ was basically making sure that everything was secure. Everything was basically in place before he told those people to come back. So it's as if he's thinking that is a plan B if Medina doesn't work out. So this is even political intelligence as well. And this isn't something that's narrated. This is just something that some of the scholars have derived. Like, why did these people from Medina and Abyssinia stay there so long? Even after Medina was like well established. And then the Prophet ﷺ told him to come back. For example, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't come back to Medina till very late on. Why? It's as if some of the scholars basically said that it's as if that he was waiting to make sure Medina was solidified, and they weren't going to get pushed out of there by Munafiqeen or the Jews or whatever before he told them to come.
What I was going to say about his political intelligence was that when the Prophet ﷺ was actually making hijrah, he planned it through. He didn't just say, "Oh, I have to tawakkal on Allah," and just go through. He actually planned every stage, and he took a longer route to Medina because to play it safe. So like sometimes people say, "Oh, you should just trust in Allah and just go for it if it's meant to be," and stuff. But no, like you should consult and you should plan, and then you leave it to Allah. Like you saw, as the Sheikh once said, that tawakkul is action of the limbs and the trust of the heart in Allah.
So tying the example of that, tying the camel.
Tying the camel, exactly, subhanAllah.
Should add one more thing onto the political intelligence. It comes back to the thing I said about in Hunayn as well. The Prophet ﷺ, why did he say, "Ana an-nabiyyu la kadhib, ana ibn Abdul Muttalib"? What's the significance of him saying, "Ana ibn Abdul Muttalib"? So what's it? Sorry, let me translate it to English. I am the Prophet. No, there is no lie. I am the son of Abdul Muttalib. Why not just say, "I'm the Prophet"? Why did he say, "I am the son of Abdul Muttalib," who was his grandfather?
Oh, because he was a political leader as well.
Okay, but why? Why did he mention that? All the people were Muslims anyway.
I don't know.
So this is the thing, I was listening to something. So one of the shuyukh was basically saying that the reason he said that, and this is his political intelligence, is that at that time Muslims who basically had accepted Islam. This is after the conquest of Mecca, so the iman of those people was weak. They still had the jahili mentality. So when they hear the grandson of Abdul Muttalib is calling them, that was more powerful to them, because they still had the jahili mentality. That was more powerful to them than hearing, I am the Prophet.
Yeah, subhanAllah, that's true.
So that's why he was saying, I'm the Prophet, there's no lie. I'm the son of Abdul Muttalib. So just to do that, to rally people around him, basically. That's something which is actually amazing to think of that in the pressure of battle. And that's the way he basically rallied the people. So, mental strength and perseverance. I've got 1 point for this, but I think 1 point for this will suffice. Mental strength and perseverance, basically. After when Isra and Mi'raj happened, and it's obviously the story is in Surah Al-Najm, when Najmi the Hawa to the end of it. It's when Surah Al-Najm basically talks about the Prophet and it explains what he saw. So what did he see? He saw Jibreel in his final form. He saw Sidrat al-Muntaha. Then he went past Sidrat al-Muntaha and saw Allah. لَقَدْ رَأَى مِنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. There's like a bit of difference over what the big ayah was, آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. But the point is that he saw all of these amazing things that literally no one had ever seen, and he went to a place beyond which any creation had ever been. When the Prophet ﷺ, imagine, look, and it's saying in that surah as well, مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَى. This is amazing. It says his eyesight was fixed on that which was and was focused. His مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَى, his eyesight was fixed on the end goal, which is basically to meet Allah. It never went from this side or to that side. Imagine like one of me and one of you, we're taken on this journey like to some next place. We're seeing some magical creatures that we've never seen before in our lives. We're going to be looking everywhere. We're not going to be focused. We're going to be like, wow, what is this place? But he was saying that مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَى. His eyesight didn't move from where it was supposed to move from. And then the even more amazing thing is that the narration says that the Prophet when he came back from Isra and Mi'raj, what did he do? He went back to sleep. So it was the middle of the night, he came back and then he went back to sleep. Imagine one of us, we come first of all, we wouldn't be able to keep our eyesight still. This other thing is, would we go back to sleep or would we be like walking around like just in shock? He said, I came back and then I went back to sleep. It's almost like funny to think of, like.
Subhanallah.
So it just shows that the Prophet his mental, what he was able to basically cope with mentally was on another level as well. And the wahi, when it used to come down, the Prophet, companions narrated that when the wahi used to come down on the Prophet ﷺ, it used one companion said that his head was resting on my knee. And when the wahi started to come, it was as if my knee was going to basically break, or my leg was going to break from the weight of the wahi that was coming down on the Prophet ﷺ. So this is even the ability to basically receive the wahi and continue to receive it. Look at the Quran; it's not like a small book. He's received so much of it, and subhanAllah, it's amazing, really.
It is, subhanAllah.